Hey, I'm Decathlon Gamer, and welcome to FM23. This is Youth Factory FC. It's going to be episode number 1 of a long Let's Play series that should be going all the way till the release of FM24. For those who have not seen the Youth Factory series before, this is a resurgence. This is my 4th attempt at a lofty goal and challenge. Now, I've seen some success with this challenge, but I've never achieved the major goal, and I would love this to be the year that it happens. There's been either things were just slightly underbalanced, or I didn't build my manager the right way, or we stalled out somewhere somehow in each of the previous ones. Now, the first edition stalled out because there just wasn't enough of an audience. The channel was too small. Speaking of, the channel is still on the small side, so I could really use your help with this one, especially in terms of FM content. There's a lot out there, and there's a lot of popular channels, so competing in regards to the algorithm to get this out to a wider audience, I'm going to need your help and assistance. If you could take a moment, drop below, click that like button, leave a comment to help with that algorithm, it would be greatly appreciated, and it would greatly help the longevity of this series to not fall under the wayside. Now, among those other attempts, we just stalled out, usually because of either finances or the manager not being able to get things through with the board. In the last one, though, we got really close. Last time around, we went through Norway, and we got all the way up to promotion to the highest level. So we were there. It was happening, but we got to FM23, and it was time to move on. So here we are once again, and this time we are using a mod available on the workshop that it brings the 11th tier of the English pyramid into play, and that is where we're going to begin, down in the 11th tier. Youth Factory FC, back at it again. Let's get to it. For those of you unfamiliar with the challenge, let me break it down for you here real quick. This is a worst to first scenario. The worst comes in a number of manners, and that is we are in the 11th tier, the bottom level. Actually, there is still even below that. I think technically it goes down to 13th at the lowest community local levels, but we're really down to just local leagues here. But that's only the half of it. Even there, you're going to find capable footballers, capable players who know how to kick the ball around. They're just at a much lower level, and sometimes maybe way out of the age bracket of a typical footballer. However, yeah, we've taken it a step further. The team, just starting out, we have a reputation of 1. That reputation of 1 is out of a possible 10,000. Top Premier League sides are 7,000, 8,000, nearly 9,000 in their rating. We have 1. Our training facilities are a level 1 as well. They are the worst that they could possibly get. The entire team, I've edited all their ratings down to a 1. Now, not just a proper current ability 1, which is out of 200, by the way, but the ratings themselves. Now, they're going to quickly materialize by the beginning of the season to what a current ability 1 will be, which means you'll see a lot of 5s and 6s within a couple of weeks. But after that, they're going to be locked in, because without the training facilities, without any staff, and there's the manager. I've taken the lowest license possible, which actually in real life, I've earned that license twice over. I earned it in Japan. I earned it in Washington as well. So I have that license personally. But anyway, we have a 3 in working with youngsters, a 1 in every other coaching attribute possible. We are the only staff member that this team has. We also have 1s across the board on the mental side, and I took each and every point possible and gave it to determination. Key point here being we have to build up training facilities in time if we are going to make progress in this series, meaning we need to influence the board. Right now I come in with minimal scouting knowledge of England, but actually that doesn't matter because that team of ones across the board, this manager with virtually ones across the board, we have a transfer embargo. A transfer embargo all the way till the year 2100. We will not be bringing players into this team. We are a youth factory, meaning we are going to be doing everything through acquiring of youth and developing of youth internally. But where we have ones across the board and are literally the worst team the world has ever seen, because even in those lowest levels, players still can play. They know how to pass. They could run a little bit. They might be slow, but they're not slow like we are going to be. Every last player on the roster looks like this right now. Ones. A pace of 1. Corners, 1. Shooting, 1. Yeah, all of it. But the one advantage we have, and this is the challenge, to make it work, is we have perfect youth facilities, perfect youth recruitment, and perfect junior coaching. So with a 1 in the training facilities, a 9 in the corporate, so we can bring in a little bit of money to keep things going across the way. But at this level, we're not going to really bring in anything that's more about later on, but that number stays locked in. But with those 20s, that's our one and only advantage. Now, this first season, we're going to be truly atrocious, and it's going to be exciting to see just how bad we are, even compared to really bad 11th tier teams. But that first youth intake, when it eventually comes, probably somewhere around March, oh, that's going to be exciting. And those players are going to be straight into the side. Literally the entire group will be straight into the side. How much quality, how much potential they have? Well, the thing about that potential is it's going to be really hard to achieve with training facilities at a 1. A few of those players straight into the starting lineup will see a boost because of playing time will mean something to them. Others won't have the personality. There won't be anybody to be a leader, as you're going to have a bunch of 15-year-olds, maybe 16-year-olds in the senior side. So there's no leadership around. It is a challenge. It is a definite challenge. But those players coming in, that youth recruitment piece, oh, they're going to be better than the players around us. It's just how long is it going to take them to gel as a group and grow and see us climb the ladder. It's a fun experiment. It's a really fun experiment. Big question for you. I'm going to post a poll on this one for this year. Just how, because I can't bring in any outside help whatsoever. It's all going to happen internally. Just how serious do I take hanging on to players? Because I can tell you right away that big clubs are going to want to poach them immediately. And as we are amateurs, they will poach them for no compensation whatsoever immediately because they're non-contract. Once I hit semi-pro, I can lock them in on a contract. But that's a task. That could take many divisions. That could take many tiers. We can lose player after player after player after player for absolutely nothing and have nothing we can do to stop it except the editor to keep them on the team. So just how far do we push that? Do we push that at all? Or do we let them go and build the hard way, which will take extra seasons for sure. How many players are loyal and want to stay and want to grow with the club versus the revolving exit door and having a hard time keeping a team filled. The tactics can be quite flexible in where we go from here. It really doesn't matter in this first year. We're going to be pretty bad until we get that first intake coming in. But for now, I'm leaning towards a 4-2-3-1, aka a 4-3-3, depending on how you look at that one. For now, we'll keep the roles generic. I think in time, depending on the players as they come in, we'll tweak things to kind of match the player set that we have and go from there. So for now, there's the concept, the idea, where we're going. Let's see what we can do to not lose by 10 goals a match here in the early stages. Now, just to put everybody's mind at ease while we take the worst team, I'm never going to move teams. I have every intention of taking this individual team from beginning to end. So that's not what this journey is about, and therefore we will tick off that box of become unfireable. Of course, if you have the in-game editor, that is where that becomes an option for you. But that become unfireable allows us the freedom to experiment and grow and not have to worry about, oh no, what's going to happen when we're losing by a lot of goals in the early season? How quick are they going to fire us? No, that's not what we're here for. So I've cut the roster down to just 18 players, enough to fill out the positions, but they're all in those ones across the board. Now, they do have potential ability, but as I've run this experiment before, that one was not a big deal to go in and try to edit down and turn them into something they can't be. They are not going to find their potential. Nerfing them and bringing them down to these ones absolutely destroys them. Now, where some of them will get better than a current ability of 1, I wouldn't be surprised if not a single one of those players ever achieve better than a current ability of 25, which is below minimum standard for the league. So it's not going to be a big deal. I've also released all of our reserve or youth players that we have. So those are all just grayed out players. I will make sure that selection-wise, we are picking from these guys until we start having others come into the fray. This year I decided to dangle more than one carrot on a stick for us to pursue. This time around, we are going all the way to the very, very, very edge of England. The very western tip of Great Britain, we have Land's End. It's a real place. It's in Cornwall. And this other carrot on the stick that I'm setting up is we're in that final spot. We're at that tourist attraction that exists there. And that is where I have placed this team. And with that, we're going to target becoming the best in the region. Now that's actually not that hard to achieve. It's going to take us some time because we're down in that 11th tier. But the way that English pyramid works, there isn't any big Cornwall or Devon teams. But as we climb the divisions, we're going to be checking off those boxes as we climb that ladder and try to become the best that the region has ever had. Step 3 of the non-league pyramid, which is technically the 7th tier, and we're down in the 11th right now, is the highest in the greater Cornwall region, which actually isn't in Cornwall, the county, it's in Devon County. And then beyond that, you can push even further up that ladder before you get to high-end teams. So we're going to be keeping an eye on this extra carrot as we go through this playthrough, as we've got a long ways to go to become the best in the region. It's a very achievable goal along the way. So the stadium that I'm creating is Land's End, and it's right there at Land's End, at the tourist attraction in the empty land that would be there. It's a 1,000 seat all-seater. It has expansion to go up to 3,000, which is not a very big stadium. So at some point, the club will hopefully make enough money and be able to afford a new stadium as we start climbing that ladder and hopefully able to bring in some money. The training ground, which is right next door, is DG's Academy, Decathlon Gamers Academy, and that itself is just a couple hundred seat stadium. The one good thing that I've got going for us besides having those youth facilities is our 1,000-seater should expect to see roughly 1,000 fans per match, and that will help bring in some money early on, especially as we are an amateur side. But one thing to keep in mind is those perfect youth facilities that we have, they come with a cost. They are not cheap, and I'm still not even fully convinced that I've got the balance right. In the past, the balance was very much not right, and we just could not make the money to make it happen. Let's hope that I've got that one figured out here in the early stages of this playthrough as we try to grow and become something of a powerhouse within the region. And our club heads to its first ever match, preseason though, but that part really being irrelevant. We can't play anything below us that we're going to find. St. Austell is the opponent for this one today. They've brought a much larger audience than what we have, and actually we have a decent crowd on hands for us. We'll see what happens here. I'm gonna change some settings real quick because I like to play the game quite a bit faster than real time. Okay, with things in place, we'll get started here. We are in our home purple for the day, and I'm actually surprised by a couple of the players looking to move rather decently well and even complete some passes, more than you would expect. And actually, the opposition's really not pounding us like you would think they might, but we're pretty poor. We are pretty poor, but that was a bit of an audacious attempt there. And that was the first shot we've seen of this series. I don't know how many we're going to acquire today, but for now, team hanging on decently well. Buckley, Lonchar, and there is the quick turnover and the chance, the first attempt, and Fullwood actually maybe able to make a stop on that one, hanging in there for the time being. As bad as we are, and as much as they are dominating this thing 21 minutes in, having 5 attempts already, I'm surprised that we're not getting beat as badly as you expect, though they do score there. Williams getting on the end of that one. Senna, Meacock running into some space. We can't really pick that up. Senna, we don't read at all where he's going, what he's doing, just as our center backs can't hang with Williams in the box. That, in real life, would be an easy stop at any level from the left center back to get in front of that and stop it, but we are just bad. we are pretty bad, but surprisingly, with all those ones, it could be worse. I mean, we are capable semi of completing a pass, but you can see a give and go is absolutely not something coming together. A ball over the top is absolutely something we are completely incapable of doing. But we won a header. We controlled a ball when nobody else is around. We can complete a pass occasionally when not under pressure. 2-0, 26 minutes in. The beatdown is starting to take form, take shape. Decent cross there. Really poor marking from us. I mean, we got 5 guys marking 1 man in the box. Hallam does just enough. That was an offside play there. No flag raised, surprisingly. Forward. Really nice long ball. Kicking, apparently. Doesn't come down to strength. Kamara completely messes up that header, and that mistake directly leads to a goal as the ball is straight to Kamara, and he does win the header, but he completely misplays it, and it goes behind him to Williams, who's just there to say thank you very much. 1 touch to sidestep the keeper, and it's an easy tap-in goal for a third. This team certainly won't be winning the ball as we easily turn that one over there, unable to shield it. And wow, fantastic ball. And Liam Williams, back-to-back goals just a couple minutes apart. Was that his third already? I think it was. Already on a hat trick. 12-1 on the shots. At least we've strung together a single shot attempt, but Williams has been much too much for us to handle. Primo wastes a golden opportunity as Williams was set for a 4th goal there. We get a free kick in a dangerous position and actually hit it off the crossbar and nearly get a consolation goal. More than I expected from this team. I don't think they're going to score very many goals this season at all, as Primo makes it 5 before we even reach halftime. Halftime is all I'm trying to get to here, folks. As well, for one, the match doesn't matter. It's preseason and all that, but that seems like a good enough stopping point for this one. The point here being that we are truly bad. These are beginners. This is worse than if you were to take 11 random people off the street who all 11 have never played the sport. In reality, this would be more along the lines of No, it's not just 11 random people who have never played the sport. This would be 11 people that have never played a sport. And to really have a pace of one, to really have decision making of one, so on and so forth. Because even those random people that have never played a sport, they're going to be semi-capable of doing something. They're going to have strength greater than a 1. Even if they sit in front of a computer all day and don't work out, they're going to have pace better than a 1. They're not going to have skill, but there's going to be something about the human psyche that they do have. Their mental acumen is going to contain scores better than a 1. Their physical acumen is going to be better than a 1. They might be really bad and really awful, and against a group of beginner teenage or even younger than teenage kids might be able to beat them quite handily if they've been playing together for a month, because they're going to have some sort of athletic prowess. They're going to have some sort of skill that they've developed over that 1 month, even though they're brand new to the sport. The worst adults that you can get are going to be worse than that, but they're still not going to add up to what we have here. And that's why this team is getting beat so badly. Considering that they came close to scoring is absolutely shocking. I would venture to say we will score 5 or fewer goals the entire season prior to the intake. Final score, not as bad as it could have been. It was 7-0. They hit the woodwork 3 times in the second half. They missed sitters on a couple of occasions in the second half. We got a bit lucky that it wasn't significantly worse. We also very nearly had a player sent off, stopping an attack, and was super fortunate to only get a yellow card under those circumstances and not have it be even worse. But again, it's a friendly, it's irrelevant, but it also shows exactly just how poor this team is as we start this playthrough. Now, speaking of this playthrough, here is the general flow of what to expect with this one. Seasons, early on in particular, are going to go by very quickly. Very quickly. This is not a slow playthrough. This is many, many years, many, many tiers to climb. So as we try to climb that ladder, there's going to be a lot of summary episodes and not as much direct gameplay. We're going to spend a lot of time manager-wise on vacation or getting those instant results to help our manager grow. We're going to rely pretty heavily on our assistant managers as we go through, but it'll be a combination of him and I, the eventual him or her that we will hire. For now, we're all alone. It's a good opportunity for our manager to get some growth, especially in this first season where it's truly bad and nothing is happening. So we certainly don't want to invest in staff until later on. And actually, with a reputation of 1, even with not paying them, even with those free amateurs that are out there, the chances of bringing somebody in the short term is next to nothing. We're going to have to wait about a year for that reputation to start building up a little bit just to have anyone want to volunteer to be with us. Main goal for the year is to not finish last place. And last place is the St. Piran League West Division. The St. Piran League is for Cornwall. The West Division being those obviously the furthest to the west, which of course is where our team falls into place. Now this is a league that actually, down at this level, has a number of under 23s or reserve teams as part of it. I do have options to have under 23s, under 21s, and under 18s. And actually, we technically already have them in place right now with just nothing but grayed out players. That's going to be a good place to start storing some of that talent to get some experience as they try to build up and get to first team quality. But of course, is our situation going to be a revolving door rather rapidly? That poll that I mentioned earlier on, if you didn't immediately jump over and participate in that poll at that point, now is a great opportunity to do so as we hit the end of the episode and have that opportunity to have maybe thought about it a little bit more of what should I do with the players we end up getting on roster. Do we hang on to them in an unrealistic kind of way, or Are we at the mercy, or are we partially at the mercy of the clubs around us? Do we hang on to them to a certain point? Do we let them go for a certain fee? What is the best option on how to proceed with this one? In the past, I've generally held on to players. It allows us to climb that ladder a little bit faster. We kind of key in on first 11 that will play with us for a number of years, and we'll slowly fill a position at a time as an intake brings in a better option for us. Or are we going to be constantly just trying to plug and play and fill spots and have a harder time climbing that ladder, taking more seasons to make it happen? Which would you prefer? Let me know in that poll. Let me know in the comments below. Also, click that like button, leave that algorithm comment or that discussion topic, and I'll see you next time. Thanks for tuning in. Have a good one. Be safe out there, and bye for now.